The shocking and unbelievable life story of King Nimrod, a dark king who claimed, "I will kill your God because I am the true God of all creation," a cursed king who challenged Allah and built a tall tower to shoot arrows at him, but the arrows came back covered in blood. He shouted with joy, "I destroyed your God." But why did the arrows return in blood? Why did Allah let him believe such a thing? A cruel man who started a fire that rose to the clouds and threw Ibrahim into it using a big launcher, the most brutal king the world had seen until that day, ruling for 400 years, a cursed king destroyed by a fly that entered through his ear, one of the kings of hell. Nimrod. You're watching Religious Story TV. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss more videos like this. If you're ready, let's begin. Thousands of years ago there was a king named Nimrod who ruled over the whole world. He was the ruler of the Chaldean tribe, and in the beginning people knew him as a fair and just man. His people used to worship stars and idols, but later as Nimrod's kingdom grew he became arrogant. He built a wide and powerful empire stretching from the south to the north. After gaining more control and power, Nimrod made statues of himself. He openly claimed to be a god and told his people to worship him. Even though the name Nimrod is not directly mentioned in the Quran, many believe he is the one talked about in Surat al-Baqarah. Because Allah gave him power and kingdom, he became proud and argued with the Prophet Ibrahim, a.s. Many Islamic scholars agree that this man was Nimrod. His real name was Naramsin, and he became the cruelest and bloodiest ruler of Babylon and the whole earth. Nimrod is known as the first person in history who said, "I am God." This cruel man built the city of Babylon. After that he began to harm people. Sources say that Nimrod was from the descendants of Ham, the son of Noah. He was the grandson of Ham and the son of Cush. It is believed that people from the family of Ham were the most aggressive and harsh rulers in early history. They tried to control the fate of humanity by building kingdoms. Some say they helped form countries like Egypt, Libya, Arabia, and India. It is also believed that Nimrod, who came from this same family, built not only Babylon but also the cities of Nineveh and Kala. Nimrod is a dark but powerful figure in history and also known as the first and greatest king in the world. He led military campaigns to the south of Anatolia, which is the northern part of Mesopotamia. According to old tablets, he defeated many kingdoms in these regions. Sources also say that Nimrod was the ruler who threw Ibrahim a.s. into the fire and encouraged all people to rebel against Allah. In the Old Testament, Nimrod is described as a clever astrologer, an idol worshipper, a builder of cities, and a cruel ruler who killed innocent babies. He is also said to have had control over wild animals. It is claimed that in the society he lived in, Nimrod was treated like a god, and his wife Semiramis was seen as a divine being who was worshipped. After claiming to be a god, Nimrod built a great temple filled with idols. His rule lasted for about 400 years. In the Quran there are up to 91 verses related to the struggle between Ibrahim a.s. and Nimrod. There are also other verses about the punishment and the fire Ibrahim was thrown into, which are believed to refer to Nimrod indirectly. In Nimrod's society, idols were not only worshipped. People believed they could eat, drink, and speak. They asked them for food, healing, and forgiveness. They thought idols could create life and bring death. People believed these idols had power over everything. There was no belief in the afterlife. Besides idols, they also worshipped the stars and planets. They saw the sun as the most powerful of all. People had many idols. They took care of them, protected them, and tried to prove they were better than anyone who didn't believe in them. The temples where the idols were placed were also used like courts where public matters were judged. Anyone who didn't follow their beliefs or traditions was punished, sometimes by stoning, being exiled, or even thrown into fire. This society didn't take any other belief seriously. In fact, they saw other beliefs as dangerous. The dream of Nimrod. One day King Nimrod had a very realistic dream. During the day, in his dream, a bright light came down from the sky, shining even brighter than the sun and the moon. Nimrod woke up sweating and feeling uneasy. He asked his trusted fortune tellers to explain the strange dream. The fortune tellers told him that a baby boy would soon be born in his land, and this child would change the people's religion and eventually kill Nimrod. Hearing this, the cruel king gave an order without hesitation. All newborn baby boys must be killed within a few days. Many innocent baby boys were murdered without mercy. At that time the mother of Ibrahim a.s. was about to give birth, but the order was clear: if it was a boy he would be killed. Ibrahim's mother thought deeply and said to her husband Azar, "Go to the temple and pray for me. If the baby is a boy, I will bring him to you and you can present him to Nimrod. This will help you gain Nimrod's trust." But this was only a trick. After Azar left, she gave birth to Ibrahim and secretly placed him in a cave. When Azar returned, she told him the baby was stillborn. Whenever Azar was away, she visited the cave and saw that Ibrahim was sucking his fingers. The angel Jibril was making milk and honey flow from them. Ibrahim spent his childhood in the cave. Later, when he became a young man, he started spreading the message of the oneness of Allah. As time passed, Nimrod's dream was forgotten and Ibrahim left the cave. Eventually Azar found out that his son was still alive. Islamic sources say that Ibrahim was of medium height, had hazel eyes, a kind and beautiful face, and a clear forehead. He is said to resemble the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than anyone else, even down to the shape of his footprints. When Ibrahim grew older, he became disturbed by the statues made by his father. Azar believed they were statues of gods, but Ibrahim had rejected this idea from the very beginning. One night Ibrahim couldn't sleep again, so he left his house and walked toward the mountain he often visited. Just like his great-grandson, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to stay in a cave at night. That night, the sky was very clear. He looked at the planets and stars that people on earth worshipped, and it made him feel deeply sad. He wondered what was beyond the moon, stars, and planets. Later he returned home. When morning came, he was ready to tell his father what he thought about those who worship these things in the sky. Allah tells us the words of Ibrahim in the Quran when Ibrahim said to his father Azar, "Do you take idols as gods? Truly I see you and your people in clear error." Surah Al-An'am 74. After this conversation, Ibrahim began to debate with his people worshipped the moon, Venus, the sun, and 7 other planets. To convince them, Ibrahim started using clear and logical arguments. One of these is shared in the Quran like this: when night covered everything, he saw a star and said, "This is my Lord." But when it disappeared, he said, "I do not love things that go away." Then when he saw the moon rising, he said, "This is my Lord." But when it also faded, he said, "If my Lord does not guide me, I will be among the misguided." Then he saw the sun shining and said, "This must be my Lord, it is the biggest." But when it also set, he said, "O my people, I reject all the things you join as partners with Allah." Surah Al-An'am 75-79. In this debate, Ibrahim told his people that these objects in the sky could not be gods, because even though they looked powerful, they disappeared and were replaced by others. A real God never disappears or gives up his place. Ibrahim was doing his best to guide his people to believe in the oneness of Allah and to worship only Him. Ibrahim, who lived about 4,000 years ago, was not part of a simple tribe as many people think today. When we look at Mesopotamian civilizations between 15 and 2500 BCE, we see that technology and knowledge were advanced for that time. The Sumerians used writing and influenced all the societies in that region. All of these societies lived in a land known as Babylon. The Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians all lived in the Mesopotamian region. Nimrod wanted all the people of this land to bow down to him and was doing horrible things to his people. At this very time, Allah sent Ibrahim as a prophet to guide the cruel Nimrod and his people and to teach them Allah's commands and prohibitions. The Prophet Ibrahim first tried to convince this advanced society by using logic and reason. He wanted to make them question their beliefs and feel doubt about their false gods, but this came with a price. Speaking the truth has always been costly. What would happen to many prophets later in history first happened to Ibrahim, the father of the prophets. Because of his truthful words, people began to close their doors on him and call him a traitor. This young man, who questioned why they worshipped lifeless idols that could not see or hear, was first met with anger by his own father. His father even threatened to kill him in return. Ibrahim stayed calm and respectful. He said he would pray for his father's forgiveness and told him that he would stay away from idol worship. He did not want his father to suffer in the eternal fire. In the end, guided by his faith in Allah, Ibrahim had to leave his father's house. After Ibrahim left his father's house and was alone, he still didn't stop warning his people. He tried to convince them about the beauty, power, wisdom, and oneness of Allah, but they kept worshipping idols. He didn't give up and made a very special plan. The Chaldean tribe had a festival once a year. Everyone would leave the city to celebrate. Ibrahim waited for this big event